It's Thursday, the 18th of May, 2023. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories in 5 minutes, including a special one for a special occasion today. But story number 1, wages growth has hit its highest level since 2012, but thus far it's not high enough to force the Reserve Bank to lift interest rates.
That's a consensus among economists. Salaries rose 3.7% in the 12 months to the end of March, with private sector wages leading the way. For the quarter, wages were up 0.8%. Not really surprising given this tightness in the labour market and high inflation. People can ask for and receive more money, and that's why wages are going up. Private sector wages led the way. I mentioned that. They increased 3.8% for the year. Public sector wages were up about 3%. Education and training industry led the way in terms of growth. What does it all mean? So far, there's not really a wages outbreak problem in Australia, one that would fuel higher inflation anyway. And unemployment is likely to rise as the economy slows, but the Bureau of Statistics figures do hold a couple of concerns. One being the breadth of wage rises. More than a third of people receiving increases got more than 4%. That's a little bit uncomfortable, Michael.
So what's the consensus view on rates then, Sean? We know we got a surprise hike 2 weeks ago. What happens in 2 weeks' time when the Reserve Bank board meets?
Oh, Michael, I wish I knew. Economists are very much divided on it. Some big names, such as National Australia Bank's Alan Oster, now thinks there'll be another rate hike next month and perhaps another one after that. Others, like AMP Shane Oliver, doesn't think the economy needs any more rate hikes. But of course, that's different from whether we'll get one. As the Reserve Bank would say, it's a finely balanced decision, and information like yesterday's wages data really matter.
All right, on to story number 2 now, Sean, and I mentioned that it is a special occasion today, and it is, in fact, Fear and Greed's 3rd birthday. We turn 3 today, and remarkably, across the last 3 years, Fear and Greed and the Fast Five, which is part of that, has recorded nearly 13 million downloads, which is just extraordinary. So thank you to everybody who has listened. Anyway, some people would celebrate a birthday with cake. We are going to celebrate it with beef. Sean, tell us about beef.
Well, why beef? Because 3rd birthday, or the 3rd anniversary, is a leather anniversary. Leather comes from cowhides mostly, so I looked around for something relevant and came up with beef. Also, there's good news for consumers. Beef prices have come off from their ridiculously high levels of last year. They haven't exactly tumbled. They're down just 5% this year and 15% from their peak in March last year. But Michael, anything is good. Last year's levels were all-time highs. It made it very difficult to buy anything much more than mince and sausages, at least in my household. Hopefully prices will continue to fall. Another cool thing about beef is that it's measured in BRLs, which stands for Brazilian Real per kilogram. Everything else, or not everything, most other things are measured in US dollars. Of course, Brazil is a big producer of beef, the second biggest behind the US. Australia comes in at number 7.
That is a cracker of a story. What a way to celebrate a birthday. On to story number 3 now. Qantas has launched a neighbour-free initiative whereby you can pay to have the seat next to you on a flight vacant, which is perfect if you're perhaps a little bit antisocial.
I'd pay a lot of money for this. It's already been trialled on 6 routes and now it's being expanded. The idea is on flights that aren't full, you can pay possibly as little as $30 to make sure the seat next to you is vacant. You get 2 seats and Qantas makes money on a seat that they'd otherwise get nothing for. How it works is that 48 hours before taking the flight, Qantas will email passengers on planes with spare capacity, offer them the option of buying the seat next to them. You can buy it. If someone happens to buy a full price ticket, you get a refund for that. But chances are you'll end up with a vacant seat next to you.
Story number 4, Elon Musk has dismissed speculation that he might step down as Tesla's CEO, and he's told the company's annual shareholder meeting that the electric car and solar panel company will start advertising.
Yeah, so there's been lots of rumours around the place about whether Elon Musk will stay as Tesla's CEO. He's recently stepped down from the role of Twitter CEO, finding someone else. Asked by a shareholder yesterday to say it ain't so about stepping down as Tesla's CEO, Musk replied by saying, "It ain't so." That was the end of the discussion. Another shareholder suggested that Telstra try advertising. Musk said he's open to it. Now, Tesla's famous for not advertising. Basically, it relies on Musk's ability to generate free publicity. He's very good at that, helped by his 140 million followers on Twitter. Musk also told shareholders that Tesla's full self-driving software is getting close to where it's safer than human driving.
All right, last one. Story number 5. New research shows that to be really rich in a country, Sean, you need the most money in Monaco, then Switzerland, and then, would you believe it, Australia in front of the US.
Research by Knight Frank shows that to be among the richest 1% of people in Monaco, you need wealth of $12.4 million US dollars. In Switzerland, it's 6.6 million US, and in Australia, it's $5.5 million US dollars. In the US, you need about 5.1 million US dollars. Squeezed between Australia and the US is New Zealand, believe it or not. The findings demonstrate how the pandemic and surging living costs are widening the gap between rich and poor nations. The entry point for Monaco's richest is more than 200 times greater than the 57,000 US dollars needed to join the 1% in the Philippines, which is one of the lowest ranked locations.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Thursday, the 18th of May, 2023. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. If 5 minutes isn't long enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed wherever you listen to podcasts. That comes with a bunch of interviews and things as well. And today's interview is actually with Australian businessman Mark Bouris, a really good chat. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.